Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to episode 20 of the Unnamed Games podcast. I'm Craig, your host for today, and this week we've got some quite cool news going on. So we've got some bits coming from Ninja Theory, also some stuff around cloud gaming and TVs, and some Xbox Live price change stuff. I'm not on my own. So, as per usual, I have some other people with me. We are one short, unfortunately. Mr. Allen is off sick this week, so you've just got three of us. So we have, just below me here, Mr. Ratley Ratster. How are you, my friend?
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, the people of the internet. I was going to do my fantastic Baby Yoda slurp gag, but you ruined that by not recording it properly the first time, Craig. So you can't have that. You can't have that wonderful masterpiece of comedy gold. So there you go. Tough.
Sorry,
yeah,
mate.
and I was even going to tell you a great story about it, but tough. No, you fluffed it. Tough.
Something to do with live production. Just doesn't work, clearly, obviously. And also, I have below me as well, Mr. Speed Freak Phil. How are you, mate?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. Good evening, people of the internet.
Good stuff, mate.
I can confirm Ratley's cup slurp was magical. It's a real loss to the world. Just out of curiosity, does Alan get sick pay since he's not here? Because I don't remember that in the contract.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, no, he does get sick pay. You have to pay him, Phil. Okay, so just bank transfer him. 100 quid will do. I think he'll be happy with that. So moving on.
Him one nut kick and nothing more.
Socially distanced nut kick.
A virtual one, like a gif of it.
I'm going to attach
big stick with a foot on the end of it. Just.
Oh, but in all seriousness, get well soon, Alan. I know you're not feeling too well this week, so we miss you, buddy. We miss you, and you're not going to be able to keep holding onto your lead. Somebody might catch you up this week because for the quiz, who knows? Hey, who knows? So anyway, we're going to move on to the usual second section, just what everyone's been up to this week. So I was going to go to Phil first. What have you been up to this week, mate?
I have invested quite a lot of time in gaming this week.
Nice.
So I decided I wanted to play through the Call of Duty Modern Warfare campaign again. Because for some reason, I didn't finish it. No idea why. Stopped one level before the end. Forgot about it for about 6 months. Probably because I played online and realised I was crap at it, I imagine. But yeah, I went back, I played through that, and you know what? I really enjoyed it, actually. I thought it was a great bit of gaming. It was nice and short and concise. I think it took me like 6-7 hours max, maybe. So I knocked it out in about 3 evenings. So yeah, it was really good and enjoyed it. And then I finally decided to jump back into Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I sort of played the intro around Norway, froze my ass off falling into the water. It was lovely. Cleaned up all of the sort of collectibles before I left. And I got to England and I was like, there's other stuff coming out. This is a good point to leave it. I'm going to stop here. So I jumped back in that a couple of days ago and I'm loving running around chopping heads off with an axe. It's very satisfying. It's very pretty. I am a big fan of the performance mode as well. Tried the quality mode at 30. It's all about the performance mode at 60. Oh, you just hit the synchronization and it pans around. You don't get any horrible tearing or juddering or feel a little bit queasy because of it. Excellent. Thoroughly recommend Assassin's Creed Valhalla on the performance mode.
Awesome stuff.
I can imagine that looks mega. I can imagine that is really nice. I need to fire that up, actually.
It's good stuff.
You definitely should. And also, it's Vikings with axes.
Yeah.
Raiding and set fire to people's houses. I've set fire to so many people's houses.
Yeah, me
Sometimes
too.
I just walk in there and set fire to somebody's house and then walk off again. I'm
not even raiding.
Not even raiding. I just set the house on fire and go. I was trying to figure out how to break into the basement of this house and all the doors were barred. And I was like, there must be a way to do it. Like, you're normally supposed to shoot through like a gap in the doors. I was like, I'm just going to set fire to it and see what happens.
Oh no, I just killed that person's family. Oh well, off to the next house.
5 minutes watching it burn. I was like, the fire's really pretty in this game. I'm loving the way the thatching burns. It doesn't smell very nice, but I'm not in 4D gaming yet. I'm loving this. So I murderized all the guards in the town and they couldn't arrest me.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a good game. It is a good game, definitely. I've been playing a fair old bit of it. I think I've sunk about 25 hours into it, I reckon, now. Because I picked it up a little bit later on once it had gone cheap. Which I'm glad I picked up about 40 quid, so I didn't pay full price for it. But I think it had a couple of patches, so it's sort of running, absolutely flawlessly. It's beautiful. My Viking runner, he's got a beard not too dissimilar to Ratley's, but kind of blonde colour and with a sort of like beads in it, and then he's got kind of a half haircut with long hair and a big dreadlock thing coming down. He looks pretty badass. What does your guy look like, Phil?
So I started off doing the Ubisoft like recommended. So you start off playing as the female Erebor, and then when I came back to it, I actually got a bit bored and I swapped over to the dude. So again, I went with a massive hench beard, and I think he's like shaved down both sides of his head.
Nice.
Just so I could get the tattoo on the side of the head with the where you get, because you're called Ivor Wolf Kissed, where you've got attacked by a wolf as a child. So I've got like the original tattoo, but with the darkened eyes, and then like going down the side of his head.
Nice.
Looks like a really friendly chap, the sort of guy you'd sit down and have a beer with in the pub.
Yeah, nice. You played a bit, didn't you, Chris?
A little bit. Like I did. I haven't left Norway yet. I haven't got to England, so I did like very bare bones starting. Enjoyed it, but like I say, I've always had that kind of with Assassin's Creed. I've just had that kind of. I don't know. I like it, but it's hard for me to really commit to it. You know. It's a big game though.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. If you get into it, if you get into it, it's got a lot to offer, and it really does open up when you really start getting into it. Some great story stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I love the first. Well, I say I love the first one. The first one blew me away when I first got it, and then it kind of it hit a wall very fast where it was just like it was that time when Ubisoft were doing this like proper cut and paste of here's 3 activities, you're going to do them 600 times throughout this game, and that got a little stale. And then I for some reason. Don't ask me what. I think I went for a bit of an achievement whore phase where I decided I needed to get all of the flags. And so I went through all of Assassin's Creed 1 and got all of the flags to get the full 1000G. And it left a mark on me that I didn't play Assassin's Creed 2 for ages. I remember by the time I put Assassin's Creed 2 in, I think we were on Assassin's Creed 3 or 4. And I put Assassin's Creed 2 in. And oh my god, that game is amazing! Like that is, it's day and night from Assassin's Creed 1.
Yeah,
and like I love that game. I absolutely love that game. I thought it was brilliant. It was a real move forward for Ubisoft. And then I started Brotherhood, and I don't know why I never finished Brotherhood. It was again I hit that wall with it, and it's been like that ever since with Assassin's Creed. Like even when they launched Origins, I was like, oh, this looks really good, and I was really excited, and just couldn't bring myself to play it for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think Valhalla has kind of hit that nice sweet spot between the like kind of light RPG with sort of level gated playing to kind of you can still play it as a normal Assassin's Creed game. You know, you can can just go and one hit kill assassinate people. If you unlock a special ability, it's just basically if it's a high end enemy, as you jump down to assassinate, you just got a quick time that you've got to hit it at the right time and it will kill it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, which is
like a skill check almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, you can kind of play it that way. So, but yeah, no, definitely people out there, if you've not played it, it is a great game, really worth doing. What have you been up to, Ratley?
So I have finally finished my Lego Millennium Falcon.
We can see her in the background.
I'm trying to get my hands. It's just back there somewhere. Anyway, that's it. And it was a bit of a roller coaster day. The finally finishing the Millennium Falcon, as Craig knows. I finished it, and I was like, yeah, check some photos. I'm finished Millennium Falcon, isn't it cool? And I bought a stand to put it on from a company called Wicked Brick, and turns out putting it on a stand is not a one-man job. As I'm sure if Craig wants to, he can insert the photo I sent him at some point during this video, where I proceeded to essentially drop my 7,500 piece Millennium Falcon and break it into several bits 20 minutes after having finished it.
I genuinely did a Macaulay Culkin when I saw the picture.
I was, I don't want to say angry, because I wasn't angry, and I don't want to say I was sad, because I wasn't sad. I was just gutted. You know that feeling when you're completely gutted? Yeah, it was me. I was just like, and so I spent about half hour just looking at it going, well, this is just a complete mess. What am I going to do? I've really filled this up. And then I was like, right, well, I need to fix it. I need to pick the bits up so I don't lose anything. I need to try and put it back together now, because if I don't, it'll just sit here forever and I will end up losing bits, and then I'll kick myself and et cetera, et cetera. And so I picked it all up, put it back together, and I was talking to Craig about this before we went live. Like, I had some missions of trying to find out where certain bits have gone. Now, in a normal Lego set, you can kind of figure out where bits go quite easily. When it's 7,500 pieces in the set, and you can't figure out where this one bit goes, and trust me, when I say one bit, it's like one of these little pipes, and there are like 400 of them or something stupid on the set, and you're like, so which one of the 400 is this? And where am I going to find it? You know, and it's like, oh, so you have to go back through it all step by step, find out where you use those bricks and see if they're missing. And so, yeah, a little bit of a nightmare there. Aside from that, I've actually been playing a bit of Sea of Thieves with a good friend of mine, Mr. Phil Weeks, and we've been getting back into that. We went on a couple of massive quests and voyages, and been really having a lot of fun with it. Actually, it's I've forgotten. It's a very chill, but like not chill game at the same time. If that makes sense.
It escalates quickly.
Yeah, today we were playing and we had a Megalodon shop. We were like, oh crap, we'll fight the Megalodon. Killed the Megalodon. Literally just finished collecting our Megalodon loot, and I was like, why the hell is there music? Turn around and a skeleton sloop has just emerged. We were like, oh, for God's sake! We just got all this Megalodon loot and had to engage skeleton ship, which we lost that fight annoyingly.
Oh, no.
But then we went and got revenge later. We got another skeleton ship later, pwned it, and got another Meg as well. But it was out to get us because that skeleton ship emerged. We started fighting it, and then I was like, what the hell is that? What the hell is a Megalodon here as well? What the hell is going on? So on one side we had a Megalodon, the other side we had the skeleton ship. I was like, yeah, screw this. Just keep going and we'll lose the Megalodon and keep the skeleton ship engaged. I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping and fighting them both. Not a chance. So yeah, enjoyed that. I did my first vault in that as well. Like it was only it's a quest line you do. I don't know if you've done the vaults at all, Craig. I know you've played it more than I have.
We did. Is that the
really enjoyed that? That was quite cool. It wasn't a tall tale, no. It's sort of shortened version of that almost. So you collect, like you go get the quest, you collect a map piece, you find where the X is on whichever island, you go to that island, you collect the key, and then that key tells you where the vault is. You then go to that island, open the vault, and then you go in. You've got a very short puzzle to solve in a short period of time, 3 minutes. And then you have to collect. This particular one was like 3 minutes. Collect this thing. Otherwise, we fudged the puzzle up so we didn't get the main loot. But oh my god, we had like 15 chests from it. Like I've never seen that many chests in Sea of Thieves because I haven't played much. Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, we're rich. And then, and then we had to fight the skeleton ship and the Megalodon ship. I was like, we're gonna lose it. Oh god, do this.
Emotional roller coaster.
We did have one of those great moments of RNG where we found an ashen chest when we killed the skeleton ship. So we picked the ashen chest up, we got to the thing, and we were like, oh, what are we going to do with this ashen chest? Shall we just sell it? And Phil was like, oh, I've just picked up a quest for a key for it. I was like, wicked, well, let's see where it takes us. We were talking about login. And he went, right, okay, we put the quest down, voted for it. And he was like, well, let's see which island it's on. And he's like, oh, it's on this island. And we literally walked off the boat, walked about 20 yards and went, dig it up. There's the key. We'll open the key. Sold these items that were in it. Got like 3 achievements for it. I was like, well, that was easy.
Nice.
Like, why wouldn't we do this?
Nice.
So that was quite a result. And I've just been doing that. And I think I did also pick up, but I haven't played yet, the re-release of Scott Pilgrim versus the World, because that is one of the greatest side-scrolling beat-em-ups I've ever played. I'm so happy they've re-released it. I was mega gutted when that wasn't back compatible. Yeah, it launched Tuesday, I think. There's a load of limited versions of it if you're a collector and you really want these. Like, a load of Switch has got a couple of limited versions. But that game is just, if you've not played it, if you're a fan of 8-bit, like retro side-scrolling beat-em-up games, a bit like Streets of Rage or Final Fight, things like that, Scott Pilgrim is one of the best side-scrolling beat-em-up games I've ever played. It's phenomenal. I can't recommend it enough, and I'm going to definitely dive back into it because, like I say, I played the absolute behind out of it on the Xbox 360. I think I've still got it installed on my 360, actually. So it's almost wasteful to rebuy it, but it's got all the DLC and all that sort of stuff as well, which I never got into buying on the 360. And it's been remastered as well. So I'm super pumped to get back in and play some more Scott Pilgrim, to be fair. So.
Nice. Well, it actually got removed from the store, didn't it, with the Xbox 360?
Yeah.
You can't even buy it anymore. I don't do a licensing, I think.
Yeah. It's on my 360, so they can't take it away from me. Yeah. If my 360 dies, then I can't get it back. But yeah,
cool. Well, I've been doing a bit of Valhalla again, as like Phil was saying, and just getting stuck into that, which is quality. But I also tried something else that's just come onto Game Pass that I've sort of had my eye on for a while. I thought one day I might pick it up if it's on sale. So thank you, Game Pass, for looking after me. It's Torchlight 3. Don't know if you've ever played Torchlight games. No,
I've never played them. I've looked at them.
Yeah,
I played the second one. And it's like a kind of cartoony Diablo, or a more cartoony Diablo.
Yes, it's actually developed by 2 of the developers from Diablo 2. So hence why it feels quite Diablo-y. Yeah. And I think I've probably put I'd say I probably only put maybe 2 hours into it, something like that. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. Just playing like an archer, and you've got like a little pet who helps you and attacks people. But you can, as you pick up the loot, you can kind of give it to your pet and then send your pet back to town to go and sell it for you while you're out on your quests.
Cool.
Which is a really cool little touch, yeah. You get lots of different like kind of boss fights and stuff, and you just unlock different types of abilities. Like I run around and I can summon down lightning storms around me and send lightning flying out from the skies in front of me as I'm shooting things with my bow and arrow and stuff. So it's pretty cool. And it does the multiplayer as well. It's all kind of persistent online world multiplayer.
Nice.
So yeah, it might be worth having a bit of a bash at it. But
mate, yeah, I'll get it on download. I'll get it on download for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I recommend that. It was good stuff. And yeah, I think that's been. Oh, and I've been watching a bit of Toast of London as well. I was a bit slow getting onto that because it's a bit of an older show now. But damn, that is funny, that show. Oh, Matt Berry. Oh man, had me in absolute stitches.
I can't remember his nemesis' name. What's his nemesis' name? Roy Parker.
No,
Ray Parker.
Ray Purchase.
Ray Purchase.
Ray Purchase. Yeah. Stephen Toast here. Yeah.
So good.
Hi, Stephen.
So good.
Clem Fandango here. Can you hear me?
Yes, Clem Fandango. I can hear you.
Quality stuff. So yeah, watch Toast of London if you've not seen it. Absolute classic. Right. Cool. Well, we know what everyone's been up to. Let's move on to the news. So, first off, we've had to change the running order literally just before we came on because Ratley spotted an announcement from Xbox around Xbox Live pricing. So, there's been announcement of a price hike coming soon. So initially it was just announced about the American market having a price hike, but it's now been announced in pounds as well. Since we're in the UK, we'll do the pound side. So for 1 month, it's going from $6.99 to $7.99. For 3 months, it's going from $17.99 to $21.99. For 6 months, it's going from $29.99 to $42.99. And for 12 months, it's going from $49.99 to £86. So quite an increase. But Microsoft have said that they're going to send messages out to everybody, and they promise that the prices won't increase before 45 days after the messages have been released. So, yeah. Boys, what do we think? I was, going to go for you, Ratley, first, as you're the one who spotted it. What do you think about this? I mean, I suppose an inevitable price hike at some point. It's probably not had a price hike for the past 10 years, but, what's the deal? Hi, folks. Not even 12 hours after recording this episode on a Friday night, I wake up on the Saturday morning to a tweet from Xbox saying today was not great. We always try and do our best for you, and today we missed the mark. We hear you, and we're reversing our Xbox Live Gold pricing updates. They're also saying that they're starting to work on immediately removing gold requirements for free-to-play games. We'll discuss this next week, but I wanted to add this on for audio listeners, so it kind of makes a little bit of sense when you're listening to this. Cheers.
So there's two things to this, I think. Firstly, yes, it was bound to happen, and I mean, it's not ideal. No one wants it. It's a big thing. The nice thing is giving you 45 days notice. So if you just want to stick on gold, all you need to do is go and buy like 12-month gift card and just slap it on your account, right? And you can buy like 12 months for the reduced price and get it. And that's one of the beauties of how Xbox Live Gold works is you've got the chance to pre-purchase your membership at this price, and it will carry forward for however long because you've paid for your membership. Microsoft don't retroactively start charging you. So if you've got 3 months paid for, 3 years paid for, sorry, you've got 3 years paid for. At the end of that, it will change cost. I think the max you can go is 3 years, isn't it? I think paid in advance. 3 years is the max.
Yeah,
so,
I believe so. Yeah.
So if you're not happy about this price increase, you've basically got 45 days to whack on 3 years worth of membership cost at its price, which is, I think, very fair. Secondly, I think the big thing is that it's quite obviously a move to make another Xbox service look far more appealing, and that's Game Pass. I mean, we know that's the key focus for Microsoft. We know that's where they're putting their money in a big way. I can't see this as such a bad thing when Game Pass becomes closer to it. Of course, this will affect some people who don't want Game Pass, and that sucks. But like I say, you've got the chance to delay that for 3 years before it becomes a thing. With a cheaper price as it stands, and it's not ideal to increase prices while we're in the middle of a bit of a pinch for a lot of people. I'm not as happy they're doing it right now, but I also, it's business, right? you do it when you want. You can't forever be taking up thinking of, oh God, can everyone afford this right now? It's like, well, does the business need to do this right now? But yeah, I think it's predominantly a push to push Game Pass in a sort of roundabout way. It just makes Game Pass look more attractive price wise. People get better value from Game Pass, because that's the thing. They haven't announced the price increase to Game Pass. They've announced the price increase to Gold. So for a smaller extra fee, I mean, what is it now? It's going to be about £2, isn't it? Something like that difference. $7.99 to $9.99, isn't it, for Game Pass?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah,
I think
it's $10.99 for Game Pass. I think
$10.99. Sorry. So yeah, so it's that's shrunk that even closer now. So I can't see this as. I mean, it's probably because I can see the massive value in Game Pass, right? And I've played so many games. You were saying about earlier with Torchlight, but even if you just look at the first party releases, Gears, Thieves, that sort of stuff, and Halo later this year, those are all games I know I'm going to buy anyway. So they were always going to be games that were going to go in my library. So I've prepaid for them, and I get all these other games as well, and I get my Xbox Live included in that, So it baffles me that people aren't buying Game Pass over Xbox Live anyway, personally, but everyone's choice, right? So anyway, that's my take on it. I think it's a real push towards making Game Pass look more attractive. The timing could have been better, but at least people get the opportunity to buy the service at the current price, add it to their account for 3 years, and make sure they're fully stocked up so they can delay that price hike for as long as possible. Yeah, and if you didn't know you could do that, there's a top tip. You can buy 3 years now at $49.99 for the year, stick it on for 3 years, and you're prepaid for 3 years.
Ratley's top tips. I mean, I'd even go so far as to say this is sort of the first steps towards just getting rid of Gold. Gold will be gone, and it will just be Game Pass. You'll have your Xbox Live Gold experience will be Game Pass. That's what gets you online. There will be no in-betweeny. In a couple of years of having the prices so close together, I imagine they'll see a load of people migrate, because why wouldn't you, like you say? And I think it'll be all gone at some point. But Phil, what are your thoughts on the situation?
Interestingly, when I was back in the retail sector, you couldn't get hold of 12-month memberships for Gold, particularly maybe 6 months ago. Like, we couldn't get them in the shops. The cards that we did have didn't work. So they've obviously had this in the works for quite a long time, because we noticed a drop off and we were only getting 1 month and 3 month cards. So I would guesstimate that's probably, I don't know, April time last year. It would have even been before that, actually, because obviously COVID and stuff. It was probably maybe more than a year ago now that I noticed that we weren't getting the 12-month ones in at all, and they wouldn't go through the tills at the time. We were only getting 3-month ones in, so they've obviously had this in the works for quite a long time. So I wonder whether, we've talked about this being a bad time for it, I wonder whether perhaps actually it should have happened last year, but COVID has delayed everything.
Could be.
So there's an interesting kind of thought on that side of it. Just from the retail side, I'd already noticed that was going away, and I thought something's going on, because otherwise, why are these cards disappearing? It's a form of,
it could well be.
Right? Yeah. My second thought is, we discussed a while ago about Game Pass, and I posed the question of, like, will we see an increase in Game Pass now that EA Access has been added?
Yeah. And
now we've got the rumours of Ubisoft joining that as well. I wonder if maybe this initial price hike of Gold is, like you said, to push people to Game Pass, but I think we're going to see the increase in Game Pass at some point soon as well. They're going to make the service more appealing, I think.
Yeah, potentially.
That potentially is an option in there.
Or on the flip side of that, maybe the increase in Gold is to pay for the extra amount that's going into Game Pass without them increasing the value, the cost of Game Pass, so it's a higher perceived value, because it's still about revenue coming in, isn't it? It's just which bucket they put it into.
Yeah,
could be. I mean, there were rumours that they were going to potentially make Gold almost a free service at some point, weren't they?
Yeah, I'd heard that. Yeah.
So I wonder whether, like you said, they're going to increase the price more and more and more, and they're going to push people into Game Pass almost, because it's a so much better value, and then they're just going to take out Gold entirely, and the online gaming will be free, but Game Pass is really your key access.
Yeah, I would say one other thing as well to think about is people going to be buying new Xboxes, right? So people buying Series S, Series X, and I think we might see I know it's been a bit of a disaster for them at launch, but we might see a reaffirmation of the pre-bundled, all access. People buying it as a pre-bought, pre-bundled. This is what it costs you. This is what your Xbox costs you to buy. I know that seems to be where Microsoft are pitching it. It's not that you're paying for your Xbox and a service on top. It's like you pay this for your Xbox and it includes your service and all your games and everything. I think they're looking at that simplicity of it's a service thing essentially. So why wouldn't you have the service attached to it? So you buy the machine, and it comes with it. Exactly. It's a phone model, right? So you buy the thing, and it comes with everything you need to do it. So whether that be on a phone, minutes and data, and text messages, whatever it is, or whether it be that with the Xbox, it's games and online. I can see the logic in that. Like you say, Phil, phasing out gold as a whole, or making that the free baseline so you can play online for free, but you don't get like basically anything else. And then Game Pass is where it really is, and that's the chargeable service in a big way, where you get all of these games, like whether it be Ubisoft or EA or Microsoft or whoever it is, and then on top of that you get the sweetener if you can buy it all in with your console, and that's just the cost of buying an Xbox.
I wonder if part of that move as well is to try and engage with the almost like the parents that buy the Xbox for the child. Like for us, we know Game Pass is a great deal, and we're all in. And I pay Ultimate because I can play on my PC as well. So I think that's a great kind of service, and I've got a VR headset, so I can use some of the stuff that comes on Game Pass with that too. But there is that kind of divide, particularly for parents, like, oh, Johnny wants the new Xbox. Don't know why I went with Johnny, but Johnny it is. Everybody goes with Johnny, don't they? And I've got to buy this £400 Xbox, and then I've got to go out and buy him this new FIFA game that costs me £60 every year, and then he wants Ultimate Team points, or I get the Xbox and I get Fortnite free, but then I have to pay X amount of money for V-Bucks. I think it's just that way of bundling in. Look, you want to buy little Johnny the Xbox for Christmas. Well, here's the great news: the Xbox, it's this bundle. That's his games for the next 6 months.
Yeah,
you've got 500 games. It's almost like that kind of retro console gaming model. Where it's like buy this original PlayStation and you get like 20 of the most popular games on it. It almost feels like an old model they use for that. They're putting into a new kind of selling pitch almost, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think that's a really good point about the engaging with parents and grandparents, people who are gifting the consoles. It's like, well, look, you can just gift them the console, or you can gift them the whole thing, and this is everything you need to get it running, and all the games and everything he'll want, all included. So I think there's a very good point for that. I think that's we know that's Microsoft's goal with All Access anyway, and we know that's Microsoft's goal with Game Pass is to make it that one-stop shop, right? So I think that's a really good point, Phil, and I think that's not to be overlooked in that we will get that whole service.
Feels like a change of tact almost in the marketing as well. Like previously, particularly with the Xbox One X, like this is for the ultimate gamers, the people who want the best possible console, and they sort of did the One S, and they're like, this is for everybody else who just wants to buy one for the kids. And it almost feels like now they're trying to. We've got the Series X for us, but actually it feels like a lot of this marketing is now pushed at mopping up some of that other market share that didn't know any better, who would have bought a PlayStation because the PlayStation was one that everyone talked about. All of a sudden it's like, even though they're all talking about the deal this is, look what you get for your money. Like, you can't dismiss that this is just that much better value initially in this purchase bundle, and I feel that's maybe their change of tactic marketing a little bit with this as well.
I think 100% they're going to move to that, and like the phone model is a great one that Craig said. I think it also gives them the flexibility, like for a customer like me who's got it on All Access. If I'm a sucker for upgrading my Xbox, right? Absolute sucker for it. So if they bring out an X.5 upgrade, whatever it is, we will do it, right? But I'm the guy who sold his Project Scorpio Xbox One X to get a Gears 5 Xbox One X. Proper sucker here, right? So, but that kind of stuff. If you're an All Access customer, I am. I really am. It's like, oh, you've stuck that on it. I must have that one instead. This limited edition one isn't limited edition enough anymore for me. I need a new limited edition one to facilitate my nerd needs. But that would work really well for me to be able to go, well, I'm done with my Xbox, but here we go. I'll have a new one. Have my old one back. I can pay for it. This whatever. It's a much better way for people to upgrade more regularly and buy more regularly if they do release newer consoles. And we do see this more granular upgrade path in consoles. It's like you were talking about the new RTX cards that are supposedly leaking, and they were like this massive power delta between where we are with Series X and where they're potentially going to be with these new cards. Maybe we will see a revised architecture for Series XS or XV or
who knows?
Z or whatever it's going to be called,
Yeah. I think
who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah, we're maybe dipping a bit far into the future there now. So I think, just to kind of wrap this point up a little bit before we sort of, end up going around the houses a bit. One last point on it I wanted to kind of mention. This, I don't think we need to really discuss it all that much, just kind of an initial brief thoughts on it, that they haven't given us a date for when they're planning to do this increase. However, they have announced that in February we're going to get 5 games with gold games. So we're going to get Resident Evil, Dandara, Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb, Lost Planet 2 and Gears 5. So it's quite a selection of games. So maybe it's just to soften the blow, something like that. I mean, just very briefly, Phil, what are your thoughts?
It's a good range of games. There's a bit for everybody in there, isn't there? I am shocked by Gears 5 being included, though. I mean, that's like, particularly with the Hivebusters DLC, that's been like one of the poster childs for Game Pass this month. I mean, if they're giving Gears 5, I assume you would have to buy the Hivebusters DLC if you wanted to get that, yeah?
Well, it's free, isn't it? I thought Hivebusters was free, wasn't it?
It's free for Game Pass.
I can't remember. Is it? Okay, I couldn't remember.
I see what they've done.
Anyway,
You've played this awesome game. You love it. Why don't you just sub up for Game Pass for a month and, play the Hivebusters DLC?
It's full of microtransactions, that game, really, for the online side, costumes.
Oh, they've actually, to be fair to them, I'll be prepared to go before they were full of microtransactions. They've really dialed that back. So almost everything is earned in-game now. Because basically it launched and the community went, are you taking the Michael? And it cost them a lot of goodwill. It cost them a lot of goodwill from the Gears community. I know that so yeah, it was a real shame as well because I was really pumped for it. And then when I saw, it wasn't as bad as Gears 4. Gears 4 was awful for that, and Gears 5 was better but still terrible. So it's good to see they've kind of reversed it and made it much more earnable in game and more focused on that as well.
Yeah, what do you reckon then? February? Do you reckon we'll see that price increase?
If not soon after, if they're not giving the 5 games to breed the goodwill for maybe a March or April type of thing. It's got to be coming soon. They wouldn't. It wouldn't be out in the wild if it wasn't coming soon. So I think February, March is probably a fairly safe bet. Games are good next month. The weird thing is I was really thinking the other day about Lost Planet and I really wanted to play those games back in the day and never got around to it. And I was like, oh, Lost Planet 2 is coming to Games of Gold. Yeah, maybe now's the time.
Awesome, cool.
And then I was quite disappointed. So
I quite liked it.
Don't hold your breath on that one. It's a bit of an odd gameplay loop on it. It's it plays like a multiplayer, Battlefront game, but you play it single player on your own.
Maybe I'll get a
very odd, particularly Lost Planet 2. I don't think I ever played 3, so I can't.
There was a 3.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there's 3 of them.
I didn't even know there was a 3.
Yeah, the planet
moving on,
and then something happened.
Well,
and then
no, we won't move on.
No.
Moving on.
No. Now we can move on.
So, as I said, brief points there. Thanks for that, Phil. I'm only joking, mate.
It's not.
Yeah, half joking.
Just give me a break.
So moving on to the next point we've got. So Ninja Theory. There's some pretty cool stuff that's come out of there, kind of R&D based. And Phil, you're the man who brought the post up to the WhatsApp group. Do you want to go through what that's all about, mate?
So the reason I kind of steered us towards this is they released episode 3 of Dreadnought, is what they call it. And just for a bit of background on there, the idea behind Dreadnought is Ninja Theory are trying to develop new types of game systems to really push forward the gaming industry and the way they think about it. So with the original Hellblade, there was all that spatial audio and the motion capture on the faces. And, they went really deep into the psychology of somebody with split personalities and psychosis. And they did a lot of in-depth studies to make that game feel really realistic and really highlight what was going on with that. And their Dreadnought is kind of it's multiple different kind of platforms that they're trying to evolve to just raise up the entire kind of gaming sort of model, I suppose. So particularly in this case, episode 3 focused on what they call Project Mara. And that's a game that's basically set in one apartment. And the big thing that they're focusing on for this is the absolute intricate detail. They've got an apartment they want, and they're painstakingly recreating it, almost pixel by pixel, I suppose, to try and generate something where you could look at it and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between real life and the rendered in-game image. So they go through a whole process of they'll take a carpet sample, for example, and they'll get as close as they can, or as close as the human eye can get to it. And when they're creating the textures, they're realizing that actually a texture is no longer flat. It has different depths to it. So they're spending all this time creating these textures to give them that 3-dimensional kind of visceral, real feel to it. And then they take this model and they then put it into a kind of like a game engine where it generates it as it goes. So like I can't think of the word they call it. You know, like in Diablo,
procedural generation.
Yeah. So the idea is they're setting up a game model for it to procedurally generate, but at this level of detail. And then they want to build that into this Project Mara and then invest that into other Ninja Theory games. So they're trying to find ways to make a extremely detailed environment and then a way to generate an extremely detailed environment. And then they're going to take that and put it into a bigger game like Hellblade 2. So the whole of episode 3 was just around making these super detailed kind of systems, essentially. And they're trying to generate this game model, this world model, where they can go in and say, generate me an apartment in like a 2077 cyberpunk apartment. They put it in there and it will generate a super detailed, like almost imperceptibly real game environment. And that's wow. This part. This is episode 3 of Dreadnought. Is this the environmental generation?
See, that is so exciting for me, because it's kind of like, we all know that when game developers create all these amazing locations, take Division 2 is a great example. They've recreated meticulously, Washington DC and New York, and it must take thousands upon hundreds of thousands of hours to put that level of detail in. If they can get to a point where they can create these incredible environments at the flick of a switch, and a computer and AI actually generates what they want it to generate, then they can spend so much more time on the mechanics, animation, on story, acting, and just getting the level of detail in all the other areas. I really think stuff like this, it sounds like the future of gaming, like the way it will all go. It's really impressive, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it sinks in really well with when they announced Unreal Engine 5. So one of the big things for Unreal Engine 5 is that you could use studio quality assets, and the engine would downscale them based on the quality. So it would scan in at whatever it is, 16K, and then we want to play it in 4K. The engine downscales it to 4K, instead of you having to have a 16K texture, and then you have to make a 4K texture, and then a 1440p texture for the Series S, and then a super low res texture for people on sort of entry point PCs. So, if they make these super detailed environments, and then you can feed that into Unreal 5, and then Unreal 5 can downsample it, downscale it into a game, how much more time have you got to create an amazing game experience?
Well, I think the big point you make there is that streamlining your work. I mean, forget about like Craig said about creating new worlds, because you can still do the meticulous art design and creation of creating the world, but you have one set of textures and assets, which is a huge load off of a developer's plate to have to, like you say, take an asset, then create a 4K one, then create a 1080p one, then create whatever it is. They just go bang, there's the asset done. And that's such a big task that's reduced to just a small task to a degree. I mean, I say small task like it's nothing. Like, here's all the assets of the world just done. It's not that simple, obviously, but not having to repeat that 4 or 5 times. Anything which is going to streamline and improve game development, it's got to be a good thing, right? And I mean, it's exciting stuff. Yeah, it's really well. And as Craig said, even if your costs don't change, you can reallocate that cost to other systems. So maybe your game needs more work on the AI system. So let's just be really mean and pick on Cyberpunk for a second and say, like, look at the AI that controls the crowds in Cyberpunk. It's garbage,
Don't do
right?
that very often.
but it's the most recent and prime example of where it really failed in that respect. And I think if they'd have had like this system to deal with, I don't know, generating something else, and they could have more time to work on the AI for the crowds, I mean, that's just instantly, that's a good thing, right? It frees up the studio to do a better job across the board, because they haven't got to do so much repetitive tasks in some respects. Any tool that's going to do this, and I mean, Ninja Theory are just impressive, man. I mean, whether it's their games or whether it's their tech, Ninja Theory are killing it, man. And I think, Microsoft did a really, really smart purchase there.
Yeah.
And I think, they're also investing their money wisely in people who are trying to move things forward. Because I think we've talked about this before on the podcast, like me and Craig have, about like the way Microsoft invest, and they're not, and I actually we think we've talked about it before. They're quite a forward-thinking company, and they will look at the bigger picture. So people go, "Oh, why they bought this studio?" And it's like, well, before, but you don't know about what they're doing over here. that's building this technology or whatever it is. So I think this has been a very, probably Ninja Theory said, oh, this is stuff we wish we had the money to do, and Microsoft have gone, well, now you do.
Yeah. Here you go.
You know?
I mean, particularly the cool thing with this whole Dreadnought plan that they're doing is like Project Mara is one team, and it's one small team working on developing a super realistic environment, but they have other teams that are within the Dreadnought bubble that are doing other things.
Yeah.
So they're looking at all different areas of game development, because Ninja Theory's their theory, for lack of a better phrase, is that small teams working on smaller projects to create something new and innovative is what the company wants to do. So that
laser focus.
Episode 3 is laser focus. That's just one small part to generate these amazing environments you can then use in other games. You know, what are they going to do in episode 4?
So exciting, isn't it? What they do, these companies are coming up with, genuinely. Like, you know, it's like you know, it's on a slightly tangent, but I remember watching a video about the making of the first Doom game, like Doom on the PC, the first one, way back when it was 1990, whatever it was. I can't
93.
Yeah, 93. I was going to say 92, but I was like, I'm sure it's not. But that was done by like 2 guys, essentially, and they were just like, yeah, we're going to make a new game, and like. And to think about how far, like, the repercussions of those 2 people have gone into modern gaming, it's crazy, right? So it just like you say, Phil, small team can make a world of difference if they get the right tech, can't they? You know, 100%. So yeah, Ninja Theory killing it, man. Really exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely
something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be watching more of it. 100%.
Yeah, definitely giving them the tools to really make massive waves, like you say, in the industry. Yeah, good stuff. Cool. Right. So the next point we've got is actually a little bit about Warner Brothers and HBO. So there's a bit of news about the upcoming release, and Mr. Ratley's going to give us a little go through on this, aren't you, my friend? Because it's something quite close to your heart.
Oh man, yeah. So this is quite just sort of splits the audience in this one. So Warner Brothers end of last year announced they were going to be. Well, Zack Snyder announced that via HBO Max he was going to be finishing his version of the Justice League. Which, if you saw the one that came to the cinemas and it said a Zack Snyder film, it really wasn't a Zack Snyder film. Being a big fan of the Zack Snyder, it started with Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel. I'm a big Superman fan. If you haven't spotted it on previous podcasts, this entire arm is covered in a Superman tattoo. I loved what he did with Man of Steel. I know that it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I absolutely love that movie. Henry Cavill was a perfect casting. The thing was great. Then we had Batman v Superman. Very split movie. I really wish that Warner Brothers had shown the director's cut, not the rubbish cut. It's like amazing how 30 minutes of footage changed that movie. But it brings us to Justice League. And what happened with Justice League was Zack Snyder had to step away from the movie when post-production started because of a family tragedy. His daughter had committed suicide, so he stepped back, and they brought in Joss Whedon to finish the movie. And what has transpired since is Joss Whedon didn't so much finish the movie as remake the movie. Essentially, almost all of it is not Zack Snyder's film. And there's been a fan campaign, which #released the Snyder Cut, which was all about giving Zack the chance to finish his film. Everyone said it was a pipe dream, pie in the sky. I mean, I tweeted a few bits about it. I bought a few bits and pieces to help the merchandising and the cause, which, on a side note, just as that, cause was fantastic. The fans who set this up raised money for the American Suicide Prevention charity because of, obviously, it's very close to Zack Snyder's sort of tragedy and etc. They were like, so all the money went to that. So when people say these people were just whiny brats, they did something really, really good has come out of this, in terms of, as Zack Snyder put it, there are people alive today who wouldn't be if it wasn't for them, which is a good thing. But it's announced that, moving to the point, that Zack Snyder's Justice League is going to be a 4-hour movie. Now, it was originally going to be 4 one-hour episodes. However, now they are finally seeing sense in giving us the full 4-hour film, because if you didn't know, when it was first announced that Justice League was going to be parts 1 and parts 2, and there's been a lot. I'm not going to go into spoilers on what the plot's supposedly going to be, because that would be mean for anyone who wants to see it. All I can say is, if you saw Justice League that they released in the cinema and you thought that was the Justice League movie, oh boy, have you got a surprise coming when you see, like, let's just take it for a start. Justice League we saw in the cinema was 2 hours. And it felt rushed, and it felt cluttered, and it felt a mess. This is going to be a 4-hour marathon of a movie with this, like, so much rich plot and, like, detailing. stuff that should have been in the film was obviously meant to be in the film, was obviously butchered out of the film. Stuff was just cut. Like, there was so much ill-fitting humor that Joss Whedon brought in. You could tell that basically Warner Brothers had got sick of being reviewed badly for being the dark and scary comic book films, and they wanted to make an Avengers movie. They wanted to do that quick success of making a fun, light, happy, let's put some jokes in here, let's become the Marvel films. Which, as a DC fan, I don't like, because DC is notoriously darker than Marvel as a comic book series. For a start, they have Batman, right? And Batman isn't exactly Happy Street, no. And even when I talk about Superman, Superman himself is full of hope, but his backstory is incredibly dark, which I think was something they didn't get away from in Man of Steel, which I liked. It wasn't just painted over as like, hey, happy days. It's like, hey, your entire species is dead. You're the last one. And then when the only other people did show up, they tried to kill him and all the people he cared about. It's like, wow, happy, Anyway, that's I could go on and on about how I love it, etc. for hours. But essentially, we're going to get a 4-hour film with Zack Snyder's original vision. It will be a much grittier film. It's supposed to have an R rating in the States, which is equivalent to sort of 15, 18, depending on what goes on here. It'll be much more visceral. It'll be much. It's going to be darker for sure than the Justice League we got. There won't be the stupid quippy jokes that don't fit and the bad comedy and the stupid one-liners. It will be much more of a Zack Snyder film. If you're a Zack Snyder fan, it's very exciting. And if you're a fan of what he produced in the first 2 films of the series, it's very exciting. If you're not, it's maybe not for you, but I would certainly say it's definitely worth giving Justice League another look, because it's not the same film you saw. But anyway, that's the ins and outs of it. 4-hour film. Can't wait. I'm, as you might be able to tell, a teeny bit excited about this one. Like March, it's supposed to be coming in March. We don't know for sure yet, but March is looking like a good month. So
actually, that's a good point. I don't know if you know or not. So obviously it's going to HBO Max, but that's not available in the UK. Is there
it's not.
Idea how we're going to be able to watch it in the UK apart from finding some dodgy copy online?
Well, there is VPNs are available. That was initially raised really early doors when they had a thing called DC Fandom last year, and Zach did say on the live stream they will have international distribution plans in place for this.
Good.
Where HBO Max isn't available. It has been spotted on the Google Play Store, so it could be that it's coming through YouTube or Google Play, one of the two. It might also go to Netflix or Amazon Prime. We don't know yet, but this is
Apple TV, because they did Wonder Woman 1987 came to Apple TV.
1984 was available across all. It was across all premium rental services, so you could buy it on YouTube, Google Play, Xbox Live, Apple TV. So that was just a premium rental. So you could pay it and you had it rented for 2 days, or however that rental works on whichever marketplace you bought it from. This may be the exact same thing. We don't know. They have said so far, I don't know if it's been 100% confirmed, there will be a physical media release of it after the point, because this has changed from original plans, because original plans were 4 1-hour episodes and then a 4-hour release afterwards. But now it looks like we're just getting a 4-hour release, which is, I'd much rather sit down and watch a 4-hour movie of that. All right, it's my day watching a 4-hour movie, but what a day. I could do the marathon, do Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. That's like 10 hours of watching movies. I'm no more than that. In fact, I'm down for that 11 or 12 hours. I'm like, sign me up. I'll do that. But I mean, there is definitely international plans, and there are, whether it's a rental or a thing, they haven't confirmed that yet, but it's definitely, I've seen it on Google Play. I've checked it on my phone, got the listing, screenshot it to a friend who I know who's also really excited about this, and was like, oh look, it's on Google Play. Because, he was like, well, I don't want to just have to pirate it. And I'm like, yeah, neither do I. I want to be able to support this legitimately and put money into it. For all the right reasons. Like I say, it was the fan movement done right. Hopefully Warner Brothers will see sense and also continue to add, money back to the American suicide prevention stuff as well. As discussed on a podcast a couple of weeks ago, you can imagine that I find that very moving and close personally as well. Like, it's something, that kind of stuff really affects me. So I'm really happy to see that. So hopefully we'll get to see this, and hopefully there'll be more stuff. And I know Zach's been making T-shirts for it, that all the money has been going to that charity as well. So hopefully Warner Brothers will see sense and tie the merchandising and stuff into that as well. Let's hope so, because, it's a good cause.
It's good. Yeah, I think in terms of the kind of the film, Man of Steel for me was, I absolutely love that film. The music and the whole. I love the way they brought Superman. They updated it and it was gritty and it wasn't. Don't get me wrong. I love the Christopher Reeve Superman. It's got its place in history, but this was modernising it. Bringing it up to date and making it. It was fantastic. Henry Cavill was great, like you said, and I just wish they'd done a Man of Steel 2. I think they really
you're not alone.
But I'm dead excited for it. I think really. Have you are you much of a DC fan, Phil? Or?
Yeah, man, I've watched all the movies. Of those, I really enjoyed Man of Steel, but I actually liked Batman versus Superman better, and that was proper dark.
The director's cut. I take it. The director's cut was the one.
Have you seen the director's cut? I say because if you haven't, then you really need to watch that because it's so much better.
Much better.
Yeah. Like when it launched, I watched the original, and then when I was like, "There's a director's cut," and I was like, watch that. I was like, "Oh yes." I very much enjoy Batman versus Superman. And I thought that was a great tie-in with all the characters, and I loved the look for Doomsday that they came up with as well.
Yeah, I mean, that split people, but and like the Doomsday story is really, really important to me because it's like when I so to give you the story of my love with Superman and where it came from, because he's my favorite comic book character by a mile. When I was a kid, my brother grew up with the love of Superman, and I didn't really think much of him. I thought he was a bit, I was the typical like rebel. I thought Superman was a bit boring. He was a bit one side. I was much more a Batman person typically, and I'll never forget they announced they were killing Superman, the death of Superman, the Doomsday storyline. And I, as being that really, really sort of slightly annoying younger brother, decided I was going to buy my brother all the Death of Superman comics as a present to show him how his favourite superhero died, because I thought that would be funny, right?
What a great brother.
As I was reading it, it's a typical thing that brothers do, right? As I was reading it, I was like, this is the, I was finding myself realising how much Superman meant to me as a character. Like he was quite important. And I'll never forget opening that Superman 75. I got the black polybag edition, pulled it out, the tombstone on the front. And I don't know why, but there was that whole thing in me that I was reading it, and I was like, they won't actually do this. He won't die. Like it won't happen. And I remember like the tombstone cover, and I was like, oh my god, is that? And then I started reading it, and again towards the end, I was like, no. And I just remember this horrible sinking feeling, like it was just a comic, right? And I'm reading it, and I'm like, holy crap! And that last page where you see it, and I was just like, completely flabbergasted, totally like flattened by it, and I was like, yeah, all right, maybe Superman is a little bit more than I gave him credit for. And I started reading more Superman, then I read the Funeral for a Friend series, and then they rebooted Superman. The Reign of the Superman story is so good, the comic book one. If you have never read it, please read it. It's fantastic. It's one of the best comic book arcs I personally think exists, and very underrated. And and then I just kind of just fell into this love of Superman, just started buying all the Superman doing, and realizing how important Superman was, to a moral center, if you like, and why he's so important. And like Craig said, when they updated him in Man of Steel, I thought it was done in a very real way. They didn't get all of it right, but it was important to see a Superman that wasn't necessarily always perfect and knew exactly what he was doing. He had flaws, and he was learning, and he wasn't perfect. And that, I thought, humanized him really well. And yeah, he becomes more sure of himself, sure. But, that new Superman doesn't know exactly who he is and what he's supposed to do and how he's supposed to be the best, etc. But yeah, anyway, I could go on and on and on and on.
No, it's good,
I'll
mate.
stop.
It's good. It's good. I think we can all safely say, and probably everybody who's watching this is going to be, well, most people, I would say, is probably pretty excited to see what's going to come out of that. So, but moving on to the next point, we have got some news about streaming services, talking of HBO and Netflix and stuff, but it's game streaming services. So there's been a bit of news come out from I believe it's Stadia and also GeForce Now, and I'm going to pass you over to Phil, our resident tech guy, who's going to tell you a little bit about it.
Normally at this point, Alan would lean back in his chair, pull out a book, and have a little nap for 5 minutes. But he's not here, so I don't have to deal with that, which is a real shame. But, So yeah, moving on. Yes, there was a really exciting announcement. So Stadia have partnered with LG, and they're going to put the Stadia app on the LG WebOS store, and along GeForce Now are going to do the exact same thing as well. What's really cool about this is, so GeForce Now and Stadia launched roughly around about the same time, back in sort of 2019. Slightly different business models for them. The Stadia one has been, extremely successful. I'm sure we can all agree. Let that sink in for a sec.
Oh,
Yes,
that's mean,
so
Phil.
yeah, Stadia have tried, many things to sort of promote their service. The most recently you took advantage of, didn't you? Signed up for premium for a month, or did you get it free with your Amazon or something? And
Yeah,
you
well, I
got a
had.
free controller and a free Ultra.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I got it free
I
because I was a
believe.
YouTube premium member. Yeah.
Their only YouTube premium member. It's just like,
Possibly.
Can't
So
live
yeah, they've
without it
tried a
now.
couple of different promotions out there, and it hasn't garnered the love it should do. And just to be clear, like I think some of these streaming services, this is something we're going to see a lot more of in the future. I think it's another really great entry point into gaming for people. I talked about, grandma and granddad buying little Johnny an Xbox, and they're dropping £300-400 potentially to get all the bits in there. But actually, a service like Google Stadia, if it's built into a TV, you've just got to sign up for your premium subscription, and you can have a selection of games streamed in 4K at 60 frames per second. So actually, it's an interesting approach they've taken with it. Couple of things that concern me a little bit around it, and I think maybe I see the first of some missteps coming from this promotion already. It's only going to be available to TVs for LG that support WebOS 5.0 and WebOS 6.0. So for reference, 5.0 is for the 2020 LG models, and 6.0 is going to be for the 2021 models that will be launching later this year.
Is the 2020 model the one you've got, Phil?
No, I have a 2019.
oh,
I know, heartbreaking. But we won't go into that. But the 2019 model has better bandwidth on the HDMIs than the 2020. So,
Right.
Interesting, but we won't go into that. But yeah, it's a bit of an odd move. I mean, in theory, yes, it's good because it will scroll back and, you're going to get it at the mid and entry point tellies, which is really good. But if you've got a half decent TV, like I have a decent TV, Craig, you have a decent Samsung TV. I have no idea what TV you got, Rowley, but I'm going to assume it's somewhere gaming capable. If you haven't bought that TV this year to take advantage of these services, you've got to go out and buy a £600, £800 or £1,200 telly. You're not really, reducing the bar to entry to the Google Stadia service is what I'm trying to get at. If they put it in TVs that were maybe up to 4 years old, I can see actually, most people are potentially going to have an LG telly from, at least 4 years ago. Suddenly your market opens quite wide to get people to come in and have a taster on Google Stadia. And then, if you like it, subscribe rather than, you've just bought a brand new telly. Great. You can now sign up to Stadia. I think maybe that might be the first misstep I'm seeing. So time will tell. I don't think this will be the savior of Stadia.
It could potentially be a mix, though, couldn't it, of a kind of a marketing deal? So, LG using that to kind of push their TV sales as well. So it's sort of a two-way street, I guess.
I can absolutely see that, and I think that's a good thing. Circling round to GeForce Now. Now, what's interesting with GeForce Now is that model has a free part of the service. So if you have a Steam library with X number of games in there, you can stream a game that you own via GeForce Now to an app. So to your smartphone, to your tablet, to your TV for free. So for people out there that already have an existing Steam library, that's a great extra feature. Like, that's where I can see the marketing coming in, where LG are like, great, you guys like PC gaming. This is your 65-inch OLED living room TV. You ain't got to wheel your massive gaming PC down that weighs £400. You can just stream it through the app. That I can see. I think that's a great service on there. Also, the premium service for GeForce Now is only $4.99 a month. I have no idea what that translates to in UK money. But on the premium version, you can then get ray tracing on the games that support it.
I think
that's
also
a really cool feature.
Yeah, on the standard version, I believe on the free version, you're also limited to 1 hour of play, and then you have to get back into a queue to rejoin again. So that's the only other downside. It's free on, but still, if you want to just jump and have a quick game on your TV, great. It doesn't cost you anything, does it?
Yeah, exactly. You're right. The premium is priority queuing as well. I remember you saying yes. But yeah, it's an interesting move. I think it's a very good move. It makes a whole lot of sense to put these streaming services in the TVs. I can see that going for. I think if Stadia were trying to garner some more support from Stadia, they probably need to go back more than just this year and next year's TVs. But time will tell. I think it's good for the TV side of it though to be associated with these services. I wonder if we'll ever see the Xbox Game Pass app make a move onto there as well.
Well,
I mean, yeah,
it's going to be Samsung. If it's going to be Samsung, if it's going to be anywhere, isn't it? They've, Xbox have had such a close relationship with Samsung.
Well,
for so long.
yeah, but didn't like on the latest ones with Series X, they pronounced the OLED LGs as being the optimum experience for Series X, didn't they? There was that whole marketing thing with the Master Chief on LG OLED, wasn't there?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was LG OLED was considered the what was the one you had, Phil? I can't remember now.
Well, it's the LG. I've got the LG C9.
Yeah, so I think the LG C10 or CX was the premium model they were saying for Xbox Series X as being the TV to have. That was the one you wanted. So there's definitely been. I mean, I know that obviously the Samsung thing has run for donkey's years, and they were talking before about the. I think wasn't it the low latency they were promoting specifically on that, and the gaming mode they had specifically, wasn't it? Yeah, and now Yeah, and now they've got, obviously that's now going to LG, so maybe that's where we're seeing this thing, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, on the Stadia note though, like I think you're saying like, oh, it's a great way to bring people to Stadia. Is there such a thing as a great way to bring people to Stadia? At this point? Sorry, I had to get the cheap shot in, didn't I? I just had to put it in there. But the thing, I will say this though, and this is the thing, I've been a real critic of Stadia, and I said probably about 10 episodes ago that Stadia needed to do something. Like, you could tell it wasn't working. Whatever they were doing wasn't working. And it's great to see them actually doing something which may make a difference to their success in this market, right? I don't hate the idea of Stadia. I hate the execution of Stadia more than anything. Like, it's so badly messed up at this point and bodged. It's unexcusable for a company like Google to be making this mistake. I mean, we know who to blame for it. He's failed the PlayStation 3, the Xbox One. The man is poison. Just get rid of him and
the other
move
Phil.
on, right? Yeah, the other Phil, right? Not the good Phil, the bad Phil. Not this Phil. Like, we've got several Phils in gaming now. Like this Phil, the good Phil, the bad Phil, and every Phil in between.
Phils. Phil Spencer, Phil Haslett, Phil Thompson.
Yeah. So we had this really thing where something needed to happen with Stadia. It was dead in the water, let's face it. Even after all that positive reviews from Cyberpunk stuff, where it was being told as, if you haven't got a Series X or a PlayStation 5, the place to play this is without question Google Stadia. People still weren't playing Stadia, right? And I feel for them because they did things right, but they're still not getting it. But this is a smart move. Making that service easy to access is the best way to get people on it. Not having to jump through hoops. Like, use your controllers, have it on your TV, get it. So I think this is a good move. I do think this is a good move. I think it's a great move. I do think it's got it's launching with GeForce Now at the exact same time on the exact same platform. It's going to make it tricky, but they are. Let's be really clear. Whilst they are still streaming services, they aren't exactly the same thing. Stadia is that self-contained, all-in-one, whereas GeForce Now is really a supplemental system in the same way that Xbox have their supplemental. It's not designed to replace the service. It's designed as an extra service on top of your existing service. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes, no, totally.
It's slightly different. Yeah, it's slightly different with Xbox because you pay for all that stuff anyway. But with GeForce Now, you don't pay for online access with Steam, etc. Excuse me, but you do have that obviously the cheaper access. It's always the way with PC because the entry point into PC is higher, but the games and the services aren't as high.
Yeah,
I think it's a great move. I still think they're going to struggle to find their market. I genuinely do, and I think what Phil said about Xbox Game Pass moving over to Game Pass Ultimate showing up at some point on TVs is almost an inevitability at some point. And I reckon if Microsoft do it, it will go to both Samsung. Well, it's an Android app, right? So there's no reason you can't play it on an Android TV if you know what you're doing. And I've seen it done already, and I've seen it running on a Nintendo. Yeah, I've seen it doing on a Nintendo Switch, which has had some wizardry worked on it. At that point, you kind of go, So I see this being something Microsoft will absolutely not turn a blind eye to. Microsoft will be on this like nobody's business. So I see it being a short-lived success for Stadia. But again, on the plus point, great to see Stadia doing something. It's got to be doing something because at the minute it just felt dead. It really felt dead at the minute. So,
I'd say
Stadia for that.
Yeah, I'd say I would go as far as say I'm a Stadia convert because I'm not. But having used the service and played it for a bit, and because I had that 3 month of the premium service on there, and they have a bunch of games in as part of that service, it's like a mini Game Pass basically, and it works really well. I mean, it's almost I almost couldn't tell when there was any lag. I was trying Destiny 2, and that is a really fast-paced game. It was running at 60 frames a second, and I could just about tell there was a tiny bit of lag, but it was really, really impressive.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing for me with Stadia is they've just, first off, the game library is too small. There just isn't enough different types of games. Secondly, they don't have any killer apps that their own apps. They're exclusively on Stadia. They haven't got a Master Chief. They haven't got a Last of Us 2 or an Uncharted, or they haven't got any of these kind of games that would draw people onto that platform. Having said that, if I didn't already have an Xbox, I wasn't already invested, and I wasn't a hardcore gamer, as you'd put it, and I was thinking of getting into gaming, it's a fantastic entry point. It really is. It's cheap to pick up. It's £10 a month. You think you throw £400-500 down on a console, you could do that £10 a month. I can see the benefits of it, but again, going back to exactly what you said, it's the execution that's wrong.
It's fallen down from the word go. Is the execution the wrong? Yeah. And I think if you go back further, like with the early, they were like, here's how it works, and they showed it moving from device to device to device to device to device seamlessly. You were like, if it does that, wow. And it just doesn't do that. It hasn't done that since it launched. This was something they told us would happen at launch and still doesn't happen. Yeah. And it's like, come on, you can't, that thing of over-promising and under-delivering. Yeah. If you're a new service, you can't do that. You have to say, look, this is our vision for the future, and this will be where it is in maybe 2 years. But right now, infrastructure allows us to do this. But we can tell you now that this is where it wants to be. So who knows? But cool. I mean, if Amazon show up right, this is going to kill Stadia, in my opinion. I think Amazon have got the resources to kill Stadia more than anyone else has with the same sort of model. Almost.
Time will tell.
Who knows?
Time will tell. It'll be a battle of the Titans, I reckon. So great stuff. Yeah. Well, thanks for that bit, Phil. That's cool. Something to chew on there.
Cheers, Phil.
So what we'd normally do now is normally go on to listener questions, because we have got a couple in the bag. But again, because Alan's not here, I don't want to do them this week, because it's nice that we can get everyone's opinion, right? Because who knows, a person writing in might just want Alan's opinion, and we're going to answer it when he's not even here, because he's more interested than all of us. Let's be honest.
Hey, I've got that covered. Alan, what's your favourite game? Ark. Alan, if you could go in any game world, what game would it be? Ark. If the world ended tomorrow and you could only save one thing, what would it be? My Xbox, so I can play Ark.
Don't think you're far off there, mate.
Alan, what's your favourite T-shirt you own? Oh, it's the one that's got Ark on the back of it. And who's your new future favourite movie star? Well, it's Vin Diesel, because he's in Ark too.
That's a bit mean, Phil. That is a bit mean.
It's pretty bang on the money, though.
He has at least mentioned other games he enjoys.
He just hasn't played them. We love you, Alan. It's just the way it is. Happened when I wasn't on the show. You got to give the person who's a bit of a ribbon.
My first week off, I'm sure there's going to be some serious ripping of me done when I'm not here.
It's got to be done.
Definitely. I've got all the alien ones queued up to stitch up on that, and I did promise we'd throw Alan under the bus at the start of this episode because he wasn't here. That was my attempt at throwing him under the bus.
Because we're going to skip that, I think it's time for us to go on to the fabled quiz time. So this week I've put together a little quiz, and it's a general geek quiz. I know we did try and do some sort of fancy other types of quizzes, visual quizzes, audio quizzes and stuff, but I've been playing with the technology. You may have noticed there's some new animations and some new screens and things. I'm just tinkering. I'm just playing with it at the moment. I've not quite got to the level where I'm confident that I can do it and not mess it up halfway through. So we're going to stay with the standard quiz, which is good for audio listeners anyway. So I'll move on to the next inevitable section from the quiz, and I will ask my contestants for a buzzer. So I'm going to go to Ratley first, and I don't need any kind of genre or anything like that. It can be anything you like.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with an all-time nerd classic, because I've been watching. I said I started the Star Wars saga again, and I watched episode 2 and 3 this week. One of the things I did. And I'm going to go with an absolute classic line from the exquisitely crafted dialogue of episode 2 with "I hate sand."
It's a classic. So we got Ratley with.
Of course, it gets.
I hate sand.
Yeah. I think that's about the quality of delivery it gets from Hayden Christensen as well, who I don't dislike, but my God, that film struggles with a script. It's
Really
like,
does,
I hate sand. It's coarse. It's like, oh God, please stop talking.
Right.
Say it like that, it gives me tingles like I'm watching the movie again.
Right, Phil, go on, give us something energetic, powerful.
Energetic and powerful. I mean, I don't have to relate it to anything, so I'm going to go with an oldie and a favourite of mine. Sausage.
Sausage. It's a classic, Phil.
It's always good. It's always good.
Sausage.
I love sausage.
Sausage.
Right, okie dokie. So I have got 10 questions and 1 bonus question, just in case we get to a draw. All right. Ooh. So who knows? I might just do it at the end anyway, just for fun. So question number 1. Stranger Things is set in the fictional rural town of Hawkins, but in which US state is it located?
I hate sand.
Go for it, Rally.
Is it Indiana?
It is Indiana. Yes, my friend. 1 point. Did you know that one, Phil? Or are we just too slow?
I didn't know that one.
Oh, have you seen Stranger Things?
I've watched season 1 and 2. I haven't watched season 3 yet.
Okay, but it's still set in Indiana, so
yeah.
I also watched them 2 years ago. So
all right, no worries. Question number 2. What year was the first iPod released?
Sausage.
Go on, Phil.
I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to take a punt. Was it 2003?
No, it was not. Ratley, I'll pass it over to you.
I hate sales. 2001, maybe.
It was 2001, Ratley. Well done.
Oh!
On the
I was going to go 2001, and I panicked and went 2003.
Great stuff. Cool. Right, number 3. In the original screenplay, what was Luke Skywalker's surname?
I hate sand.
Ratley.
Starkiller.
It was Starkiller. Oh, he's run away with it.
Just beat me to that one.
Yeah.
Good work.
Right.
Sorry, Phil.
Okay. So we've got another Stranger Things question here. So question number 4. What is the unfortunate physical side effect of 11 using her mental superpowers?
I hate sand.
Go on, Ratley.
She has a nosebleed.
She does have a nosebleed. Fantastic, mate. Well done. Did you know that, Phil? You knew that, Phil.
Too quick.
Yeah.
I did know that. Yeah. He's just too quick. I was like,
sorry, man.
Okay, question number 5. Which ship's engines were overloaded to destroy Installation 4 in Halo?
I hate sand.
Go for it, Ratley.
I think it's the Pillar of Autumn.
It most certainly is the Pillar of Autumn, yes. Oh, Phil. Oh, unlucky, mate.
It's going to be a clean sweep at this rate, man.
Sorry, man.
Mate, you can still, I'm going to go the full 11 questions. You can still claw it back and win, Phil, from that, okay?
But if he gets this one, we don't have to go through that pain?
No, we're still going through it, and then I'm going to root for him to completely decimate you, because it just makes good watching.
I really hope it doesn't happen.
Right, question number 6. The first video to upload to YouTube was of its founder talking about what?
I hate sand.
Go for it.
Putting videos on the internet.
No, it's not quite as on the nose as that. I told you this is a bit of a random one. I don't think anyone's going to get this. You go on then. Go on, Phil.
I don't know. Was he talking about what he had for lunch?
No, I hope not.
that would have been amazing. That was the answer to that question. I would have genuinely been like,
right,
that's too good.
I'm going to give you boys a clue, and you get one guess each. Okay, it's an animal.
Leopard or a cheetah?
No.
Big cat? That's my guess.
A hippo.
Oh, you were very close. It was an elephant.
Similar. Oh, I thought elephant, and then I was like, no, it'll be more random than that
as well. And I was no, it'll be something exciting like a cheetah.
Do you know what? When he said the big cat, I was like, I bet it's about hippos because they're one of these really crazy animals that like can absolutely decimate people. They're really dangerous. And they kill more people. I was like, I bet it's like stuff like that, isn't it? And it's about an elephant. Oh!
Great. Cool. Right. Question number 7. Who was Squire to Brienne of Tarth? Come on, Phil, you've got the edge here that you've watched it, and not that long ago.
Again, 2 years at least.
That's. Do you know what that's? You've seen it. That gives you a huge leg up. I could just name random characters, and that's about as good as I get.
Give up, Phil? You'll kick yourself.
I'm gonna have to. Was it the? I can't even remember her name. The little girl princess who was a boy who tended to acid.
No. It was Podrick Payne, also known as Pod.
Oh,
Podrick?
Never heard of him. Literally don't know he exists.
That was an open goal you missed there, Phil. Unlucky. Right, question.
Cylinders this evening.
Question number 8. Who was the leader of the replicants in Blade Runner?
I hate sand.
Do you, Ratley?
Yeah, I do. Of course, it gets everywhere.
Perfect delivery. Come on, what's your answer?
I believe it's Roy Batty, played by Rutger Hauer.
It most certainly is. Yes, well done. Did you know that, Phil?
I knew he was played by Rutger Hauer. I didn't know his name.
Yeah, to be honest,
So
I remembered it was Roy. I didn't know his surname. So, well done. Right, question number 9. What was the first dinosaur to be seen in the Jurassic Park films?
I hate sand.
Go on, Ratley.
So this is a tough call because the first dinosaur you see, you don't really see all of it. So I'm going to say it's a velociraptor.
It is a velociraptor. Yes, mate. Well done. Fantastic. Oh, Phil, mate, I really do hope you get one now. I am not rooting for
I don't think I'm going to. I'm almost inclined to just not bother now. It's not even worth it. Can't even save my.
I kind of feel like really happy, but really like kind of like I don't want to just do this. Like,
right.
You know?
If you're in agreement with this, Ratley, this next question, Phil have
gets
first answer, and then you can
absolutely has a punt at
it.
Okay. Yeah.
Question number 10. What was the first film to be screened in Dolby Stereo?
Can I get a clue to like what year it was?
It was not this side of the year 2000.
Oh, so when I was young and probably wasn't old
and
enough
it is
to
a
watch
famous film that you would have heard of.
God,
a very famous film.
Look, Phil, like it's okay. I think it was screened in 1977. I think, and I think if you can't get it from that, and it's like a very famous film, then
we talk about it a lot. It may have something to do with Ratley's buzzer.
The first Star Wars?
Yeah!
Oh, Jesus Christ!
A New Hope? I was leaning that way, the buzzer getting away, I'm not going to lie.
To be fair, that was a tough one. I didn't know that. Did you know that, Ratley? Well, you obviously did know that, Ratley. Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll be fair. I didn't know it exactly, but as soon as you said it, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Star Wars.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known. Like, I wouldn't be like, yeah, it's definitely Star Wars. But when you said it, like, my first thought was, I'm pretty sure Star Wars did that.
Yeah.
You know.
And knowing me, I do like a good Star Wars question. Right, okay, and the bonus round. I'm going to do the bonus question. What game was sent into space in 1999? Blank faces. Do you know it, Randy?
No, I've got a feeling. I've got an idea what it might be.
Go for it.
I don't know.
Buzzers are back on. Buzzers are back on.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to give Phil a bit of a chance. It's like just take a punt at it.
Go for it, Phil.
No, was it Pong?
No, it was not Pong. No.
I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I just didn't want to go in there in case I was right and
go on then.
I don't know why I've got it in my head that it was Tetris.
No, it wasn't. No, it was in fact StarCraft.
Mario. Oh, okay.
StarCraft.
Yeah,
that was what went up there. So at the end of that quiz, it was a close one. So I'm going to build a little tension here. Are you ready for the scores, ladies and gentlemen?
Okay. Go for it.
In second place, we have Chris. In second The scores on that
mean.
one, yeah. The scores were 7 points to Chris and 1 point to Phil. So that was a tough one
handed
there.
to me, so it's more like 8.
Oh.
It was a bad one, mate. It was a tough one. There were some tough questions in there, to be fair. I really tried to mix it up and put some weird, just proper geeky questions in there rather than just games and movies and stuff, just to kind of mix it up a little bit. But no, well done, Ratley. That now puts the leaderboard for this year on Alan with 2 points, Ratley with 2 points, and Phil still with 0 points. But it's the start of the year, mate. You've still got loads of time to catch up, buddy. If not, we might have to do your booby prize if you never get off 0.
Oh, I really hope that never happens. That would be too mean.
I'd say it's open season when Ratley finally takes a week off, but you'll probably be involved.
Great stuff. Cool. Right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps out for this week. Thanks, boys, for joining me again. And hopefully this has all come across okay for everybody watching on the internet. And the people listening.
I can't wait to see it.
Good. Yeah, well, let's see with the live production that's gone on, the little swooshes and stuff. So, yeah. Well, I guess from here, it's just a bye from me. It's a bye from Ratley.
Goodbye.
It's a bye from Phil.
Bye.
And it's not a bye from Alan because he's not here. Bye.
Bye.